I'm Devan,
And I'm Ida,
and welcome to Pandemic Chit Chat.
the podcast where we, two 8th graders, talk about the events of the pandemic through our eyes.
Throughout the past almost year of our lives, Ida and I have been doing school from inside of our home and missing out on many things.
Many 8th graders have shared similar experiences to us, and so we're here sharing a few of them.
This is Pandemic Chit Chat. During this podcast, we will be discussing from March 2020 up till now, going month by month through worldly events, but also events in our lives that kind of, helped us get through online learning and just, adapting to the new world around us.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting the different points of views that a lot of kids our age have. And while our situation isn't nearly as drastic as those of seniors in high school, class of 2020, or even class of 2021,
Oh gosh.
I think that sharing different sides of the story is really important.
Totally. And I think that by doing this, we can kind of just see how, because I know how I personally feel about online school, but there are so many other kids out there who might not have the same online school experience as us, and kids who are hybrid in school, and kids who are fully back to school. But also just all the events that have happened in the past year. Like, so much has happened. I can't even.
Yeah. And like us specifically living in Washington, D.C.,
Oh,
with all
yeah,
the
no
political
kidding.
events, they're all happening like a 10-minute drive from us.
This is true, yeah.
And it's different, like hearing it on the news and then realizing that like there's shops boarded up next to you because of like
I think that throughout like each month of the pandemic, you kind of get a different like view on it, because of your view of the pandemic last March. You didn't think it would be going on till now, and
yeah.
now that it's February, it's almost March 2021, you're like, wow, this has gone on longer than anyone expected.
I mean, it's sort of strange to admit it, but back in January of 2020, I was an anti-masker because we had no idea like if masks actually, research.
Yeah, we didn't know. We were just young dumb kids.
I thought it was hilarious when my mom bought like a 50-pack of medical masks and I laughed at her for it.
Yeah, I mean, none of us like thought we'd be out of school this long, and still comes as a shock to me that we haven't been in a real school building in over a year, and our entire daily routines have just been completely changed. Like, we don't have the luxury of doing a lot of the things that we used to do. So that's what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about how the pandemic changed us, but also how the world has changed for the better and for the worse. So, Ida, if you could go back and tell your pre-pandemic self one thing, what would it be?
Okay, it would probably be go outside more, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like in the middle of winter and now it's snowing every
Yeah,
other
I gotta
day.
tell myself that today. Go outside more.
Yeah. But it was like so new, and there was sort of like something thrilling about like pandemic pods, and you have to go on a hike to see people, something like that. And
Oh yeah, totally.
I thought it was like a big burden, like, oh my God, I have to go walk outside or something.
Mhm.
But now that we're inside and it's like we're being advised to wear double masks, it's like you could have done so much more back when we didn't really know about the virus.
I just would say, like, I don't know, don't take for granted what you have. Like, don't take for granted walking in. You know what I miss the most is probably all this less stress around it. So, like, walking into a restaurant without a mask on, or being at a concert, like, in a crowd of people, literally not caring if, like, someone's touching your elbow or whatever. Like, that's what I miss. And then last March, the pandemic started in China, and everyone was like, what's this virus in China that's supposedly traveling west. What do we do?
And also, like sometimes I wake up and I'm sitting in class and I'm staring at my computer. I'm just like, what am I doing? Because I'm seeing all my teachers like through a screen. It's just a bunch of like initials, which I mean, I'm personally fine with camera-wise, but I just remember on the first day of school for 8th grade, I was just like, oh my God, this is really happening. Like we're starting a
Yeah,
school
I
year.
mean, I think that like for me, I think that like there's so much lacking in connection that you don't get through this online schooling. Like I like just with not just with your classmates, but with your teachers too. Like you don't really get a full sense of who a teacher is and how they teach and everything online because everything is so different.
Yeah, and it's sort of the uncertainty of it all.
Oh yeah.
Especially like with online school, uh, I understand like we had paper homework and it was just sort of like this is your assignment, it's just
Yeah.
this, like it's one page. Whereas online, there's just so many places your homework could be,
Yeah, I
and
just
like
yeah.
each teacher runs their classroom extremely differently. There's no one teacher that does everything the same, and it's really strange. And then I think about when we were in normal, like in-person school, there was sort of an order to everything that there isn't now.
I think that over the pandemic, my whole view, my point of view changed when I started. I heard someone say this. I think it was on NPR. Someone was saying like, or maybe it was Fauci. Who knows? So someone said like, we need to stop saying we need to get back to normal because like we can't go back to the normal that it was. We can only move forward to the new normal that's eventually going to get close to where we were a year ago today. But I don't think obviously we're going to get there. I just think moving forward is the best thing to do and not like focusing on literally everything that's happened and regretting things.
And that new normal, we don't really know what it's going to be
Oh
like.
yeah, no one knows.
Um, like the flu vaccine, how it changes every year, how we, have to get a
Yeah.
shot every year. Like, will the coronavirus become the new flu like the new flu,
Yeah, I
where,
know. I mean, but
and
right
also the whole mask thing, right?
now, yeah,
Like,
I know. I mean, some people say like you kids are going to be wearing masks through next school year and you're going to be wearing masks for at least the next 2 years. Oh no, 6 months. Like you just have to take things day by day because everything changes every single day so much. So that's why I think that this is so crazy. That's why we're going month by month because a billion things happen that we totally forgot since it's been, I mean, it's felt like forever for me.
yeah.
Like,
And like we don't know if it's gonna end like in the next few months with the vaccine
yeah.
coming out, or if it's gonna end like in a year and a half from now.
Oh, I don't want to think about that. But you just take it day by day. Take it day by day. Yeah. Next week, we're going to start our first episode called March, where we go over where we were when we learned about the pandemic, what was happening in China when the pandemic was breaking out, how it subtly moved west, and when it got to our home
Yeah, and the last 2 weeks of our in-person schooling, and then the first 2 weeks of
of our
distance.
online learning. Thank you for listening to our pilot episode of our podcast.
See you next week where we talk about the events of March 2020.
Thank you for listening to Pandemic Chit Chat with Devan and Ida.